Yeah, big week. You know, again, it was a less than impressive win, but they got the victory. So you beat New England, and you've gotten where, you know, Duffy and I, by the way, who've been a lot less loud about it, suggested a month ago that it was going to come down to a one-game difference in the division.
You're trying to claim the last 3 weeks you have walked in with disappointing Bills performances. They're going to fall on their face, right, guys?
But a month ago, I said it's going to come down to the one game. Miami's played better than I thought they would up until last week. Okay, but talk about Buffalo.
Though I will say this, before the season starts, I said, watch out for Miami. They're making the playoffs no matter what now. Buffalo needs to win this game. That being said, I understand Miami's got a lot of injuries. They've got some guys. Waddle, who knows about that? Mostert did not play last week. Miami did not look good last week. I got this stinking suspicion they are going to be prepared for Buffalo. And then Buffalo playoff peak a little bit too early with the games that they've played now. They've basically been,
so
let's be honest. They've been on a playoff playing sort of run for the last 3 weeks. Gas does run out of the tank.
You can't get all uppity every time somebody says something negative about the team, because they have been so up and down. Every fan in the NFL roots for its team is up and down.
They're up and down. They've won 5 of their last 6. They're up and down.
Look at the way they've taken some of those.
They're a game away from winning the AFC East after being 5-5 in early November. Hey, do you remember
we like the point spreads. I think they failed to cover in 4 of the last 5.
Hey, you don't make the playoffs on point spreads. Okay. You don't. You make the playoffs on wins or losses.
But that's a measure of expectation, and they've come in under that line.
You want to talk about measure of expectation right now? Despite the fact that the Bills have not clinched a playoff spot, they had the second best odds to make the Super Bowl out of the AFC. What's that tell you about how Vegas feels? It's Baltimore, then Buffalo.
But I bet it's not close.
Oh, it's, minus 143.50?
Don't compare yourself to Baltimore.
Miami's behind Kansas City right now. The point there, listen, it's very simple when it comes to this game on Sunday night. The Bills and Dolphins are tied for the exact amount of sacks this season. You know what the difference is? The Dolphins are going to be without their 2 best pass rushers, where the Bills have finally sat Von Miller down and allowed guys to go get sacks, which they did against New England, 4 turnovers. Rasul Douglas might be the greatest deadline acquisition in Bills history. He leads the league in interceptions, turnovers since that trade. And Josh Allen, when you talk about playing against Miami, playing in prime time, playing in high pressure games, is at his peak. There is no way with the ground the Bills have made up the last 7, 8, 9 weeks they lose this game.
I will say this, his record against Miami, Josh Allen's very impressive to look at if you want to look at it before this game going forward. But I want to go back 2 steps in the sense of where was Miami at with these injuries? They've piled up this year. If I'm Miami and I win this game against Buffalo, I don't have to go anywhere. I get a little bit of extra rest. I don't have to travel to Kansas City or wherever the hell I have to go. I think there's a lot on the line for Miami to win the division against Buffalo in your house.
They knew this 4 weeks ago when they lost to Tennessee. They knew this last week when they lost to Baltimore. Where was the urgency then? Why does all of a sudden the urgency kick in the last game of the season? That is the difference between Buffalo and Miami. Buffalo is battle-tested. They are galvanized because they've been in this spot before. Miami has too, and every time they fall on their fins. Hashtag trademark.
Wow.
You brought it up. What do you make of the Von Miller move?
I think it's 3 weeks too late. I mean, look, let's even take the off-the-field stuff out of it, which bothers me deeply, right? The accusations. He's not performing. He has, 4 or 5 tackles in total on the season? And I understand that the guy has had 2 now major knee surgeries, but if you cannot contribute, I would rather see Kingsley Jonathan dressing in his spot than watching him go out there and run directly up the field.
That's amazing.
I don't know. I mean, the Bills' defense is a bit of a concern just in the safety aspect of it. But that team on the front line and their linebackers have been able to step up. I'm impressed with them defensively, but against Miami, you know how explosive they can be if they're healthy.
The Miller issue is concerning, I think, especially down the road, because when you pair that with Josh Allen getting more money, again, it gets tighter. It doesn't disappear. It gets tighter, though.
You're right. The Von Miller money is an issue. What you do with Tre'Davious White, what he's owed, and him being McDermott's first draft pick, that's a problem. And Josh getting paid. But you know what pushes all that off? Every win from now until the first week of February, because you don't have to deal with it until the season's over. So just keep winning.
They've been in the playoffs the last 3 weeks. I don't know how much gas they got left.